The Pentagon says 360,000 veterans have suffered brain injuries. As many as 90,000 of those are so severe they require long-term specialized care, something the VA is not equipped to provide. But now KXAN's David Scott tells us of a pilot program in Dripping Springs and elsewhere where those vets can get the rehab they need.
The core health care here in Dripping Springs is one of about 24 clinics around the country contracted out by the VA in this pilot program to last the next 2.5 years. The recovery process for these veterans is long and slow. 14 months ago, Coast Guardsman Sean Goff was nearly killed in a head-on collision. It was touch and go.
It was definitely a horrible night because they said he wasn't going to make it. And so to prepare.
I want you to reach.
7 weeks later, he slowly came out of his coma, underwent several major surgeries, and then faced a long process of a slow rehab.
It's a mixture of emotions because you hate, it's very hard to see your spouse or your loved one in a different state when you knew they were totally opposite than what they are now. But then it's nice to see the progress.
It simply didn't make sense for the VA to set up long-term rehab centers around the country. It wasn't practical.
It really didn't make sense for them because they'd need a lot of facilities all over the country, and they'd need a lot of people in them to make it cost effective. The numbers of veterans that were getting brain injuries are phenomenal, unfortunately. And so in their wisdom, they did something which is unusual for them, which is to create a private-public relationship and have contracted with a small number of facilities across the country.
Why the soaring number of brain traumas? Modern body armor can protect from the neck down, but the concussive nature of the enemy's explosives can still impact the head. In Sean's case, he now faces long rehabilitation, physical, cognitive, emotional, and speech therapy.
This kind of rehab can do a lot for him, and we expect to see a great deal of recovery, but it's slow, as is to be expected. It would be appropriate for him to probably have 6 to 12 months of rehab before we begin thinking, he and his family think about, okay, now, given some of the challenges that I still have, how do I get back into life again?
Jenny Goff sees the slow progress, but is especially anxious for when they can talk to each other again.
I don't even have the words to describe. I know I can't wait, and I know he's probably just stuck inside, having so much to say. And I don't know what he has to say, but I know we both, I'm sure. I can't wait for it, and I'm sure the kids can't wait.
Love you, Daddy. Me too, Daddy.
All this can be tough on their 7-year-old son, Ethan, and 4-year-old daughter, Riley. Tough to understand.
When Sean gets better, they seem to be able to get better with how they are with him. And so the better he goes with progress is when they start getting more, oh, that's Daddy.
Sean will keep at it. He's got 3 good reasons why. If you have a loved one veteran who you think could benefit from a rehab program like this, call your local VA hospital and ask questions, or just call Core Healthcare here in Dripping Springs. David Scott, KXAN News.